Story 1. The Woman Behind the Wall. Location: Albany, New York. After her Aunt Lydia passed away, Claire Holloway found herself the sole inheritor of a Victorian brownstone nestled on a quiet block in Albany. Claire, a freelance graphic designer from Brooklyn, welcomed the change. Her breakup was fresh, and a change of scenery felt like therapy. She moved in the day after the funeral with a few boxes, a French press, and a heart eager to start over. The house was old but grand. High ceilings, polished wooden banisters, and a fireplace in every room. But there was one detail that unsettled her: a bricked-up doorway in the upstairs hallway. Lydia had told her years ago, drunkenly at a Christmas party, that room was sealed for a reason. Claire had laughed it off at the time. Now, standing before it with peeling wallpaper curling around the edges, it didn't seem so funny. The scratching. Claire's first few nights were peaceful. She explored the local coffee shops and spent evenings watching TV with the comforting crackle of firewood. But by the fifth night, she heard it, scratching. At first, she thought it was mice. Then she realized it came from the bricked-up doorway. Every night at exactly 2:13 a.m., soft scratching like fingernails on stone. She knocked once. The scratching stopped. The next morning, she found a dusty Polaroid on the floor in front of the bricked wall. It showed a young woman, bound and terrified, with the same wallpaper behind her. The discovery. Claire couldn't ignore the signs anymore. She hired a local handyman named Leo to break open the bricked wall. He was reluctant, muttering something about bad energy, but did the job. Behind the wall was a sealed room. A chair, chains bolted to the floor, and a mirror that had cracked from the inside. The air was ice cold. Etched into the wall, with what looked like fingernails, were the words, "I'm still here." Claire vomited. She called the police, but they found nothing to charge. No bodies, no evidence. Just a room that should never have existed. The woman in the mirror. That night, Claire saw her. Not in real life, but in the mirror. A pale woman with sunken eyes stood behind her in every reflection. When Claire turned around, no one was there. But the smell, rotting flowers, lingered. She started dreaming of the woman. Dreams where she was the one chained, screaming, begging, and always waking up with scratches on her arms. The mirror moved on its own. Lights flickered. And finally, one night, Claire saw the woman step out of the mirror. She screamed. The woman vanished. But Claire knew she had awakened something. She sealed the room herself the next day and moved out a week later. The house remains empty to this day, but neighbors claim they still hear scratching at exactly 2:13 a.m. Story 2. The Light in Devil's Ravine Location, Mendocino County, California. The hike. 4 friends, Maya, Darren, Liz, and Connor, planned a weekend hike into Devil's Ravine, a dense stretch of wilderness with no cell service and a reputation for mysterious disappearances. Liz, a true crime podcaster, was obsessed with the legend of the Watcher of the Woods. They hiked in with cameras, tents, and excitement. The first day was uneventful, but that night, around their fire, they saw it. A pulsing white light deeper in the forest. Not a flashlight. It moved too fast, too fluidly. The following. They joked about aliens, but the next morning, Darren was missing. They searched until sunset. No footprints, no gear, just his camera, left at the edge of their camp, lens cracked. When they played the footage, it showed Darren walking into the woods, then dropping the camera and screaming. That night, the light returned, closer. Escape attempt. Panic set in. Liz wanted to stay and document everything. Maya and Connor wanted out. They packed and tried to leave, but the trail markers had changed. Their GPS spun wildly. Then Liz vanished. Only Maya and Connor were left. They ran all night, the light chasing them. It didn't shine like a beam. It enveloped, like fog. Voices whispered in the trees. Connor started mumbling nonsense. The Watcher. They found an old ranger cabin and barricaded themselves inside. But the light came through the cracks. Connor opened the door and walked into it, smiling. Maya didn't follow. She stayed inside, screaming. She was found 3 days later, alone, dehydrated and hysterical. She never hiked again, and no trace of the others was ever found. Locals say the Watcher doesn't kill, it collects. Story 3. Don't answer the third knock location, Salem, Massachusetts. The rental. Sarah and Ben, a couple from Chicago, rented a historic cottage in Salem for a winter writing retreat. The house was beautiful. Ancient wooden beams, fireplaces, and antique furniture. But the owner left one warning. If someone knocks 3 times after midnight, don't answer. They thought it was a joke until the third night. He knocking. At exactly 12:03 a.m. they heard it. 1 knock, 2 knocks, 3 knocks. No one was outside, just snow. The next night it happened again. Ben opened the door. Nothing. But their front porch was soaked like someone had dragged wet cloth across it. The witch's curse. Sarah dug into the house's history. It once belonged to Abigail Hearst, a woman accused during the Salem witch trials. She wasn't executed, but cursed the town, promising to return after death to reclaim her home. Legend said she'd knock 3 times, each knock a sign she was closer. Ben scoffed, until he saw her. The final knock, she appeared in their mirror, in the fire, in dreams. Hair like wet vines, eyes black as coal. On the 7th night, the knocking came again. Ben answered. The door blew open. Cold air rushed in. Sarah screamed as he collapsed. She dragged him out. Sarah never saw him again. The house was found abandoned. Only the door remained open, swinging slowly, as if still welcoming someone inside.